Welcome to the Echo Tips Podcast.
Here's a sneak peek into what we're going to cover in this week's episode of the Echo Tips Podcast. Are there sales on Amazon?
Here are the top Amazon deals.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Echo Tips Podcast this week. As you could tell from our prelude, it's an exciting time of year, and that's because there are all sorts of sales. And you may be looking at equipping your home with more home automation, more Amazon Echo equipment, more of the A-Lady in your life throughout your house and controlling different things. So we're going to talk about some of the products that are available, give you an idea of what is new, what is old, what is a good price, what is a bad price, and just kind of generally familiarize you with a variety of Amazon Echo products. Some are as cheap as like $17.99 right now, and as we get into Black Friday and other things with December and the end of November, we'll probably maybe even see some further falling in some of these prices or other deals maybe wrapped up with this, like smart light bulbs or remote controls or other facets and features connected to the Amazon Echo. But first off, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm the host of the Echo Tips Podcast. My name is David Ward for our new listeners. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, based here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Southwest Virginia, where it's starting to get a little chilly out there now this time of year. For our returning listeners, we'd like to welcome you back as well. And for our new listeners, you may wonder, what am I listening to? Well, you're listening to the Echo Tips Podcast, where we have little nuggetized episodes. We try to keep it somewhere 5 to 15 minutes long. Lately, I've been going a little longer than 15 minutes. And we try to cover new things on your Echo. We cover them for every aspect of individuals and families, from little ones to parents to caregivers to seniors, to those with disabilities, and some of the accessibility tools on the Amazon Echo, and home automation, different environments, maybe a school or classroom environment, maybe a nursing home or assisted living environment, just all sorts of things. And we cover skills, home automation, new hardware, music, games, just so many different things that are available on your Amazon Echo. And so feel free to go back and check our back catalog. More than 5 seasons. Now we're in the 6th season now. And we have well over 120,000 listens to the podcast. So we appreciate your listenership. And at the tail end of the episode, we'll mention some ways you can reach out to us with thoughts or suggestions. We have some ideas maybe for this time of year. Maybe we might do a setup episode or other things. But, I'd love to hear feedback from y'all about what you'd like to hear. Okay, so before we delve into this topic in detail about the cheapest Echoes, the most expensive Echoes, the Echoes you really shouldn't buy because they're old, maybe other things like that, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Well, hello again, and welcome back to the Echo Tips podcast. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be delving into those sales. What is a good deal? What is a bad deal? We got Black Friday and other things coming up, which is almost like it used to be a day. Now it's like a week or a week and a half of sales towards the tail end of November after Thanksgiving and then into December. And we're just going to see amazing deals. And maybe even you want to just brainstorm for post-holiday season after December. A lot of times there's sales after that as well. But Amazon generally has sales routinely come up throughout the year. And so, even if you miss some of these, it's not the end of the world. But I want you to make sure that you're acquainted with the product lines that are available. When have they been revised? Some of them are really old. What the price schemes are like. And so we're going to delve right into that. So there's not much I can do with demos today. We may ask the A-Lady a couple times what prices are available, because she's pretty well acquainted with that kind of thing. All right, so let's just delve in for our listeners here. And I wonder if I'm going to say the A-Lady name at all. It might not hurt to shut off an echo that's in hearing distance of me. In case I do say the A-Lady name, I will try to refrain, though. I'll tell you what, I'll just try to refrain. How about that? Okay, so let's delve right into it. So, what is available on the Amazon Echo line of devices? First off, I'm mostly going to be highlighting numbers and specs and prices that I'm finding on Amazon. Amazon sells these direct and has really amazing deals often this time of year. Now, that's not to say you can't buy some of these products from a third party, a big box store, some sort of delivery service or mail catalog. I mean, honest to goodness, you could get an Amazon Echo Dot probably at Lowe's or Home Depot and almost anywhere these days. I mean, a lot of places sell these kind of things. But really, to get the newest and maybe the highest volume of, stuff that isn't sold out, Amazon is where you would probably look for a lot of the stuff. But, you don't have to. I will mention, though, if you already are in the ecosystem, the great thing about ordering on Amazon is there's a little checkbox when you buy an Echo, and it can come pre-set up pretty much with your account, which is pretty amazing. I think that's still a thing. And basically, once you take it out of the box, it's pretty much ready to go, and it will automatically, I do believe, connect to your Wi-Fi, and I think the whole 9 yards there. I don't. There were some security issues in the past, but I don't think that's. I don't think it's a thing anymore. So I think it should be just fine. Anyway, feel free to check me on some of these things, and these figures I'm going to mention today, they do change, and like I said, it's not Black Friday yet. I'm like a day or two early here, so just bear that in mind. These prices will change, which means you may be getting a better deal, or might be getting ripped off, so don't buy that, right? So that's what's going to help inform you here, hopefully. Most of these numbers I'm going to mention are like 99 cents or 59 cents or 79 cents. I think it's usually 99 cents, but I'm not going to be mentioning the cents on all of these to begin. So, let's delve right in. There's two classes of Amazon Echoes we're mostly going to talk about today. There are other things out there like TVs and the Echo Auto and stuff that goes in your car and other things like that, third party, at least that have the A-Lady built in. I'm not going to talk about any of that. I'm talking about the primary made by Amazon products. Basically the screenless products, which are the Amazon Echo line of devices, and then the ones with the screens built in, which are often known as the Amazon Echo Show devices, because they have a screen. They show you things, and they sometimes often have a camera too, so you can do video conferencing or scan barcodes of products you want to buy or something like that. There's a lot of different reasons you might have a screen and a camera. Okay, and it can act like a picture frame too. A lot of cool stuff, or play videos. So we'll get into that. Okay, so let's delve right into the Echoes without the screens. Now, in the old days, we had the Pringle can. That was the very first one. But you're going to find, and I will mention at a high level, our prices are going to vary from as low as like $17.99 today, as I said, all the way up to $274 and some change. And if you weren't getting it on sale, it could be as high as $279. I would never pay that much for the Echo Show 15 that we'll talk about later, and I'll tell you why. But let's delve all the way back to the Echoes without a screen. So the bottom tier, the cheapest thing you could buy is the newest thing you could buy, which is the Echo Pop. Now it looks like a little snow globe that's slightly deformed. I haven't actually held one in my hands yet, but it is the cheaper little brother of the Echo Dot, which is more of a full-size kind of snow globe softball size, with a flat bottom so it can sit on your tables. So you might guys think of the previous versions of the Echo Dot where the hockey pucks, those are well long defunct, and the newest Echo Dots are the 5th generation. So what is the difference between the $17 Echo Pop and the $22, which is on sale right now, Echo Dots? Now, admittedly, the original retail price usually on an Echo Dot is somewhere in the $50 range. The $50 range, $49 and some change. And the Echo Pop would be correspondingly a little cheaper, maybe in the $40 to $35 range. Right now, $17 and $22. So what is the difference between the Echo Dot and the Echo Pop? The principal difference is the sensors. And I'm not going to get into processors this go around. Feel free, if that's something important to you and you really want to know, to go check it out. The speakers are pretty much, I do believe, identical practically. In fact, the Echo Pop may have a slightly bigger speaker. Whether it's of the same quality or not, I don't know. And the public relations speak, PR speak on the website / salesmanship doesn't really kind of give you a good idea. But the principal difference between them are the sensors. So the Echo Dots have a set of extra sensors that the Pop does not have. And those sensors are connected with temperature, knowing the temperature in the room where they're placed, and also a vibration, or I think it's a gyroscope or some sort of mechanism like that, where you can actually tap it on the top. Let me see. Tap it. No, it'll start or stop. So that's another principal difference. And I forgot there is one extra sensor in the Echo Dot 5th generation, and that is the awareness. It uses like an ultrasound feature to figure out whether there are people in the room, there's been motion in the room or not for a while. So that's an extra thing as well. To be fair, I don't know if the Pop could have that capability. I was always under the impression it was an extra sensor. It definitely doesn't have the tapping feature where you can actually tap on the device to get it to start and stop, and the temperature sensor. Definitely doesn't have those. I don't think it has the ultra sensor either, but you can feel free to check me on that. So just for that extra like $5, $10, in this case, the difference between $17 and $22, you get quite a few extra sensors. And you may be like, why would I want those extra sensors? Well, the temperature gauge, I think in itself, is very valuable. You can check the temperature in a room. I could say, okay, guys, I am going to say the A-Lady name. So if you do have an echo distance of me, you may want to shut its ears off. So I will say this. Here's an example. Alexa, what temperature is it in the bedroom?
The bedroom temperature is 66.7 degrees.
Okay, because my bedroom is kind of closed off. I don't have the heat going in there because I like to keep it cooler. But here in my home office, Alexa, what temperature is in the home office?
The home office temperature is 74.5 degrees.
Oh, wow, it's getting kind of warm in here. Okay, so that gives you a real easy thing. Now, you could, of course, use those to trip sensors, to control your thermostat, to turn a fan on or off, or just for the ability for you to check and see what the temperature is, either while you're here or at home or at the office or wherever you are. Okay, so those are the principal difference. I will mention, too, the newer Echo Dots. You want to stick with the 5th generation. Do not go back to the 4th generation. It's just the 5th generation is already kind of long in the tooth. It hasn't been revised, I believe, since 2022 at least. I'm pretty sure I got that date right. So, yeah, these are all going to be getting revised soon. So I would just say don't go back. Just they're already cheap enough, $22 or $70 for a Pop. I mean, just go with it. There is one version of this that I will mention. There are obviously kids editions of the Dot and Pop. with different types of color schemes and geared towards children. There's also the Echo Dot Clock, which has a built-in LED clock. So if you want to use it as like an alarm clock beside your bed, it's got a built-in clock. That usually is only an extra few dollars. In this case, right now, it's $34 with that clock feature built in. Okay, so we talked about the Pops. The Dots are in the 5th generation. That's the newest one. The Pop is a 1st generation. It won't be listed as the 1st generation, but they haven't really iterated upon that, apart from maybe some kids editions. They haven't really revised it to my knowledge. It is still the 1st gen model. Okay, let's move on to what used to be the Pringle can, which was the original Echo, and is still called that, the Echo. It is currently the 4th generation, is the newest model, and it's a little long in the tooth, guys. 2020, if I'm reading my records right here, was the last time that was revised. So that's more than, we're coming up on three plus years. It is substantially larger, so it's a little bigger than the Snow Globe softball shape, more towards a grapefruit or bigger size, depending on the grapefruit you would have in your hand. It is pretty cheap right now. It was originally $122. Like I said, it's a 3-year-old thing, so I would never pay anything close to that, or even $100, to be honest. Right now on Amazon, it's marked down to $54, and I would imagine they're going to try and move these bad boys out of stock as soon as possible, just because of the age of them, and they'll probably be revising a lot of these things. This coming 2024, probably in the fall, they'll be revising a lot of these things. So that one's pretty old, guys. It does put a lot more sound, though, if that's a concern or a need, so bear that in mind. The next price tier up is $154 presently. It's usually $199, and that's called the Echo Studio. It's a much more robust and larger device. I probably should have looked up the exact measurements of it, but it is specifically designed for high-fidelity music and things like that. It is still currently the 1st generation model of that, although I believe at some point they did come out with a different color scheme. But it's still on the 1st generation Rev. That is very old, 2019 if my numbers are correct here. So that's going back a ways. So $150, you're only saving $50 from the original sales price tag. I don't know about that one, but maybe if it comes down a whole lot more, it might be something worth considering. So that's the Echo Studio. Much more robust, much larger. I think you would think of it kind of as a more of traditional speaker shape and size and dimensions. Okay, so that kind of sums up the Echoes without a screen, and now we're going to move on to the Echo Shows with a screen. So the bottom tier of the Echo Shows with a screen is also the newest Echo, which is the Echo 5, which has as the 5 implies, a 5-inch screen, and that's going for right now around $39. And the newest generation that you would want to get is the 3rd generation, the 2023 edition, just announced a couple of months ago, or like a month and a half ago. That is the one you would want. Don't go back beyond that. It's $39, people. Don't try and save an extra $5 by trying to get an older one. Now, a lot of these do have refurbished options too, and as far as it comes with electronics, and if you're getting straight from Amazon with an additional warranty, I don't have a problem with that. Refurbs myself personally, but if you wanted to, there are refurbs on a lot of these things that I've been mentioning. But $39 right now, people, for an Echo 5. Now, some of these I saw bundled for the exact same price with a light bulb. Now, I'm not going to cover all of those, but you might find a lot of this stuff is bundled with other home automation gizmos and gadgets like light bulbs and things like that, or security cameras or security lights. Ring video doorbells, who knows? So just bear that in mind. But right now, $39 for the Echo 5. Usually that's going to be up there in the $75, I'd say $100 range. I don't have the exact figure right in front of me, but that's usually the price range. Okay, one tier up from that with a screen is $104 Echo Show 8. Echo Show 8, usually $149. And this is the 3rd generation 2023 model. And this is the one that was specifically used at the demo conference in September with some of the new AI features that are going to be coming. So it has some interesting home hub functionality built on for Matter support and Thread. And it has some eye tracking connected with the camera in there. A lot of the features and things that are going to probably make that conversational style really possible in the future with the when those features roll out are going to probably be baked into this Echo. So this is probably what you would think of as a premier. I'm going to be on the wagon when the new stuff rolls out. This is the one they used actually during the demo. So this would be the one to probably think about. Echo Show 8, $104, usually $149. And as the 8 implies, it has a larger screen, roughly an 8-inch large screen. Once again, saw some of these bundled with different things, but that is the 2023 third generation model. You don't want to get anything older than that, I would say. Okay, $149, the next step up currently. Usually $249 is the Echo Show 10 with motion. That's the one I have in the classroom I bought back a while ago, and that is the third generation model. And I'm blanking right now. I feel like maybe they did at one point make one without the motorized motion base, which swivels the camera to kind of track you, or if you're watching a TV show, it'll kind of keep you in view so you know as you kind of move around. Or if you're on a video conference, the camera will keep you in view. That's the whole point of the motion, the Echo Show 10-inch motion. I feel like maybe they made one without that base, but I don't know if they still make it now. But this one right now is $159, was regularly $249. That one's a little long in the tooth. I don't think I pulled up the date of that one, but I know it's got to at least be 2 years, at least 2020, if not 2019. So that one's getting a little long in the tooth. I would bear that in mind. But it is kind of unique with that motion base. If you're doing a lot of video conferencing and things like that, that's kind of interesting. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so we're going to move up, and as these get bigger, because the 10 implies a 10-inch screen, you also correspondingly often get more speakers, bigger speakers, higher quality of sound, things like that. So the 10 can actually crank out, and the 8 can crank out some pretty good sound. It's really going to fill a room. Okay, we're going to move up from that to, we're getting near the end of our line here, to the $274 Echo 15. $274 currently when I pulled up the listing today. The original MSRP recommended price that the Amazon would have is $279. I feel like that is a really puny markdown, so I would definitely wait if this is something you're interested in. This is a very unusual top product, the Echo Show 15. Now, as the name implies, it does have a 15-inch screen. That's not a lie, but it is really designed to be an independent standalone device that you would sit on your coffee table, and it's got its own base and its own robust speakers. This was really designed more as kind of almost like a TV that could be strapped to a wall or mounted to a wall or sat on a little bracket over in the corner of your desk. And it doesn't have quite the substantial speaker array on it. You're not going to probably get the same sort of sound you would get out of the 10 by any stretch of the imagination, or probably the 8 for that matter. It's going to sound probably kind of like a sound coming out of something flat like a laptop. I don't have a lot of personal experience with this. This model was designed originally kind of like a family's corkboard at home or a really cool kind of picture frame that you would hang on the wall. This one has morphed a lot with time too and been fully integrated with the Fire TV component. So it kind of doubles as a Fire TV and as an Echo Show. It does kind of both. And they do throw in that like $30 remote into this $274. In the original models, it didn't sell with the remote, but now it sells with the remote. So $274, but it is the first generation of this model and does go back to 2021. So you got to factor in here in another month or two, it's going to be going on 3 years old. So just bear that in mind. Not not probably the best for that. Okay, so that's the Echo Show 15, and there are refurbished models of that. So just bear that in mind as well if you want to knock that price down. And like I said, it is going back a ways, so that's $184 if you get a refurbished one, and that includes the remote as well. That's the first generation. They haven't really iterated upon that yet. So we don't really know if that product line is even going to stick around. So several of these devices that we've covered today, the Echo Show 15 and the Pops, are first generation devices. They've never really... Now, you could say the 10 with the motion base is kind of a first-generation device. They've never made another motion one, but they have had 10s prior to this. I had the 10 prior to this that didn't have that base. But I would say the 15 and the Pops are really brand new kind of product lines, and the Studio is a Gen 1 device. We really don't know if those have succeeded or failed and whether they will come back out or not. So just bear that in mind when you're doing your shopping. So your price range is $17 all the way up to $274. I think your sweet spots are going to be these Echo Dots are still fantastic, relatively new. If you didn't need all the sensors, the Pop has probably got practically the same processor on board. But hey, I like the sensors. They give me some additional versatility that I wouldn't have otherwise. And, I mean, to be fair, in the Echo lineup, if you want really good sound, you're not going to have a good option other than, you got the Studio and you got the traditional Echo, but they're both pretty old, to be honest. I mean, we're talking 3 to 4 years old here soon. 2020 and 2019. So, it's a little worrisome with all the things going on with Amazon and lawsuits that they've lost and employees getting signed off. So who knows? We're hopefully going to see a lot of stuff revised. If you are looking for the newest, hottest things, those are clearly going to be the Echo Show 8, third generation, which was used specifically to demo a lot of the AI awesomeness that's going to be coming. And then also in that conversational style, a home hub functionality with Thread and Matter. If you need one of those that kind of bridges a lot of your smart devices together. And then, of course, the Echo Pop was also pretty much a brand new device, 2023, but, limited functionality. If you are looking for Wi-Fi extender support for I forget what the Amazon Fancy system is. You might want to check certain models of these. I think the Echo Dots have that functionality. And, you might want to just do some additional investigation to see which ones would support that functionality or not. Okay, well, that will kind of bring this episode to a close. We do thank you for listening today, and happy shopping. And hopefully you can find some good deals out there and some pretty cool stuff. All right, well, if you have thoughts or suggestions for a future episode for me, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter, now known as X, at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. And or you can email me, the old-fashioned email, put a stamp on it, put it in the mail, an old-fashioned email, and you can do that at info@goodwillvalleys.com, and we'll just earmark those emails in the subject line or the Facebook or Twitter post, just in some way say it's for Dave of the Echo Tips Podcast, or it's for the Echo Tips Podcast. I had a question or a subject suggestion, and that message will find its way to me. Until next time, it's time to turn on the ears on your Echo. Start practicing some of the many, many things you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we do thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you a bit more. Let me put on my official sounding voice. Ahem. Ahem. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Phew! Thanks for listening.